Justin Fields has been playing some good football since returning from the thumb injury. And if he maintains that play, then Ryan Poles is going to have to decide if he wants to trade Fields when his value may be its highest, or if he wants to continue to build around Fields. And today we're going to go with the latter, which means we're going to trade this pick. I mean, sure, you could take Marvin Harrison Jr. here. I think there's more value to be had by, well, moving down and grabbing more draft picks. So then who are we trading to? We could talk about the New England Patriots. They move up one spot to secure them getting their quarterback. Could be, but I think that's unlikely. The Washington Commanders. Maybe Sam Howell doesn't play well down the stretch. The New York Giants, but they've been very vocal and adamant that, no, Daniel Jones is our starting quarterback next year. Maybe it's Tommy DeVito, a Mamma Mia. I think there's a plethora of teams that could be in the mix if the Bears decide to trade this pick. But ultimately, I settled on the Las Vegas Raiders. Aiden O'Connell is on the verge of being benched. And offensively, at least, this team feels like it may be a quarterback away, especially if they retain Devontae Adams. Not that, his contract comes up, but he could be a piece that they move via trade. I don't know. We'll see. But we're going to do this trade. No Devontae Adams headed to Chicago, by the way. But the Raiders are going to move up to 1. They're going to give away their first this year, their second this year. And we're going to do first next year and a third next year. And voila, there we go. Raiders are at 1. Let's begin our 3-round mock draft. Yes. With obviously the Las Vegas Raiders drafted Caleb Williams. I think in terms of tools and just the ability he has to be a playmaker, an improviser, that's kind of what sets him apart from Drake May. But don't worry, the New England Patriots are going to run this card up real quick, and they're going to take Drake May. The Arizona Cardinals, they're going to take the best prospect on the board. By the way, we're not doing any other trades in this mock draft, but they're going to take the best prospect on the board, with that being Marvin Harrison Jr. And now the draft begins, in my opinion. The Washington Commanders, they could do a variety of different things, like, oh man, Brock Bowers, man. Could be super fun, but we're just going to go ahead and take Olu Fashanu. It could really be Joe Alt. It could be Olu. That's their OT1, OT1A, 1B, in my opinion. But we're going to go ahead, snag that, get protection for Sam Howell. Chicago. Now we have back-to-back picks here for the Chicago Bears. And we are going to get a receiver, and I'm going Malik Neighbors, man. I think he's just been phenomenal this season. I think he's done enough to set him apart in that wide receiver 2 discussion from a Rome Odunze, from a Keon Coleman. And golly, pairing him up with DJ Moore, just, it's titillated. I don't know why I wanted to use that word, but I did. Next, I want to take the first defensive player in this class. For some people, that's like Dallas Turner. You can make an argument for one of the corners. I'm actually going to go with Jared Verse. I think in terms of at the edge position, he is the best all-around edge player in this class. And I think he just fits Eberflus's system a bit better than maybe a Dallas Turner or a Latu. So I'm going Verse. So Malik Neighbors, Jared Verse. We got other picks to play with Chicago. We'll get to them a little bit later. At 7, I thought about receiver. My heart wanted receiver, but I'm just going to ensure that the offensive line can protect my old fossil of a quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. No hate to Aaron Rodgers. The dude's still playing really good at his age. I'm just saying, you want to protect him just in case. So we're going to go with Joe Alt. Mekhi Becton, another guy that's just been often injured. So you essentially getting his replacement, because I imagine Elijah Vera Tucker moves to right tackle. The New York Giants. Oh, is this where quarterback 3 goes? No, at the beginning of the video, you heard me say, oh, they seem very vocal about Daniel Jones is the guy next year. So I'm not going to even consider quarterback here. Instead, I'm going to go with a weapon, because we could go with OT3, but I like the next two wide receivers a bit better. And I actually really like, you really could go either way with this. I'm going to go with Rome Odunze, just the combination of speed, size, and length, his ability to be a 50-50 ball guy. It's just phenomenal. So Hyatt, Odunze, and Wan'Dale Robinson is your wide receiver trio moving forward. Just go ahead and address offensive line and free agency. Quit throwing rookies at the problem. I don't think that's going to help. Or at least I don't think it's going to help this year. I think now they should definitely be like, okay, no, let's see what we can do in free agency to help with some of these spots. Tennessee tight ends. I bounced around a few ideas and ultimately I still settled on just going with the next tackle. For me, J.C. Latham. He's been exceptionally good since the Texas game. So we're going to go ahead, grab him for the Titans. Oh, Los Angeles Chargers. We're going to make the fun pick. We're going to go Brock Bowers. Grab more pass catchers for Justin Herbert there. I assume the whole coaching staff's going to get axed at the end of the year. So you're going to have a new OC and maybe an offensive-minded coach in tow there to help. Just help with this team. Please, someone. Chargers get a Charger. I'm hoping not next year, man. I want to see the Chargers succeed. Now we're here with the Atlanta Falcons, and this is where quarterback 3 goes for me. And I'm actually going to go with Jaden Daniels. For me, Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix are very close to one another, but again, for the same reasons why I have Caleb Williams ahead of Drake May, it's probably going to be the same reasons I move Jaden Daniels ahead of Bo Nix. Though, I mean, they're literally multiple, not multiple, but like there are 1 to 2 spots from each other on my big board. Listen, I know you love the NFL draft as much as I do, and you're going to want a nice hefty watch list of players during this college football season. Well, go ahead, check out my draft guide. You can purchase it for only $30 by Venmoing or PayPaling me. Links in the description. It's a one-time payment and you get it for this whole draft cycle and forever and always. Technically, it's a Google spreadsheet. So send me your email when you send the payment. I'll get you hooked up. You will see my current prospect rankings and big board, my full evals. And guess what? It updates throughout the whole draft cycle. So it's a great purchase and it's a great way to support the channel. It's his ability to improvise and just be a playmaker in that regard. And I think Arthur Smith would be like salivating, like, oh yeah, give me that in my offense. Which now puts the Saints in a dreary situation. Let's just call it that. Tough call for the Saints, really is. They're one of the hardest teams to kind of project. I feel like I would love to like say, screw this. You made a mistake with Derek Carr. Blow this sucker up. But I can't do that. I'm not taking quarterback 4 here. I think I'm just going to go with Latu. Try to get more edge talent. You got Carl Granderson for the future. You don't really know what you have in Isaiah Foskey just yet. And Cameron Jordan. Father time comes for us all. Seattle Seahawks, again, not going with quarterback 4 here. So I'm going to go with Dallas Turner to help the edge group there, to just keep consistently getting pressure. Boye Mafe has kind of emerged there, but you got Darrell Taylor is more of a rotation guy. I'm not positive if Nwosu has one more year there, but they could always end up being a cap casualty. Unfortunately, he was hurt this season. Los Angeles Rams. I'm going to continue this trend of defenders coming off the board, and because I don't want to take OT4, so because I got questions. Mims, Fuaga, are those guys right? Like, can they play left tackle? And that's kind of the need for this team. Mims, I kind of lean with, yeah, he'll be fine on either side. But I think I'm going to go with the first corner off the board, Nate Wiggins. Freaking absolute smooth criminal in terms of athleticism. Denver Broncos are also one of those teams that's kind of tough to draft for. And ultimately, I was like, you know what? We know Jerry Judy's gonna be out of here. Why don't I just have like Keon Coleman and so you get Cortland Sutton out there like winning every 50-50 ball. So I'm going with it. I like it. It's really good value. Arizona Cardinals, I thought maybe chop. I was thinking defense. I really want to go defense with this pick. And ultimately, I ended up just going with Jerzon Newton. Might not be a sexy pick for some people, but I think Jerzon's like a top 20, top 15 player in this class. Plays with his hair on fire. Non-stop motor. Very good against the run as well. Buffalo Bills. I would love if Keon Coleman was here, but he is not. So instead, I think I'm going to help the cornerback route, and I'm going to get me some of the Kool-Aid. That's right. I'm going with Kool-Aid McKinstry. Think about it. You got Rasul Douglas, older player, playing well. You got White coming off of injury. Khair Elam feels like they're already out on him. And after that, it's not much. You don't really have much going for you at the corner position. Benford, he still feels like a bit of a project, so we're going to go with Kool-Aid. Cincinnati Bengals. So, hey, I was just saying, these guys, Mims and Fuaga, they've primarily played right tackle their whole career. Bengals would love a right tackle. They need to protect Joe Burrow. So we're going to do that. And I'm going to go with Mims, man. I still believe in the talent. Like his combination of just freaky size and movement skills and length and power. It's top 10 worthy. It's just unfortunately an ankle injury has cost him much of this season. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to snag him here for the Bengals. Green Bay Packers, I firmly believe corner's probably a way to go. They've had some injuries at corner. They did trade away Rasul Douglas. So I think corner is just kind of your best bet. I do think a guy like Terrion Arnold is going to move up boards just because like his build, his athleticism, it's top notch. Might need a little bit more polish, but I think that's fine. We're going to snag him here. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Ooh. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I was like, man, Bo Nix, I kind of like that. I kind of like Bo Nix here. I'm going to opt with maybe they bring back Baker for another year. And I still just can't get literally the 2 snaps a couple of weeks ago that Kyle Trask played. And I was like, yo, those are some really good throws. Like, I wonder what they got in Kyle Trask. So, like, part of me thinks maybe not necessarily their answer of the future is on the roster, but I think it's fine enough to where they could just kind of build around and maybe hopefully like figure out their answer at quarterback, maybe via free agency or maybe if they want to take a shot later in the draft. So instead, I'm going to go with edge. I'm going to go with Chop Robinson, just a freaky athlete. Crud, dude. The Colts are such another team, difficult to draft for. I would love a receiver. I don't know if I want to take that next tier receiver just yet. I thought maybe corner, which Cooper DeJean actually is a good fit here. I would love edge because I'm telling y'all, edge falls off really quickly. We got Trice, Tuimoloau, Sawyer, Braswell, and Ellis. Those guys, I would say, are your guys that should go in day 2. But that's it. It like falls off a cliff. So I think we're gonna see those guys fly off the board in day 2. So you gotta think if you're the Colts and you really want a pass rusher, will you be able to get one? I don't know, but best player on my board is Cooper DeJean. I'm unaware of what specifically the leg injury was. I know it resulted in him missing the rest of the year. I don't know if he'll be out for the All-Star circuit, though. So that's something to monitor, but gives you a very versatile player in the secondary there. Minnesota Vikings. I don't know where Kirk Cousins is going to go. Quite frankly, he can return to Minnesota. He can. but I'm going to say he doesn't. And I'm going to go with Bo Nix for the Vikings. Yes, yes, yes. And for me, those are the first round quarterbacks. We could talk about JJ McCarthy and Michael Penix being these fringe guys that can sneak in the back end. But for me, I think those are the for sure first round quarterbacks. I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm a big fan of Fuaga. You could have him come in and immediately play that right tackle spot, or maybe they view him as a guard and they play him at guard. I think regardless, he's a big addition to this offensive line that straight up sucks at run blocking. Houston Texans. This one's a little tough. Emeka Egbuka, I get it. A very sexy pick. It really is. You get to reunite him and CJ Stroud. But I wanted to look at some of the other areas, especially with this class being really good at wide receiver. Maybe you don't start tier 3 just yet of that wide receiver group. So let's look at some. I was looking at some of the other positions. I was like, you know what? They really don't. Outside of like Steven Nelson, they don't have that future at corner opposite of Derek Stingley. Like, Steven Nelson is, at this point of his career, a journeyman, a very solid one at that, but he isn't the future. So I'm going to go with the corner that I think is an exceptionally great scheme fit, Kamari Lassiter. Pair him up with Derek Stingley. Kansas City Chiefs. This is where we start that wide receiver, that tier 3 of wide receiver. And I'm actually going to go with Brian Thomas. I am a huge fan of Brian Thomas. And he is just recently, I've just moved him up to wide receiver 5 for me. I think he's going to test out phenomenally. And he's someone who, okay, yes, probably needs a bit more polish, a little bit more nuance as a route runner. He's not the most crisp guy when it comes to route running. I kind of like compare him a bit to like Troy Franklin last year in terms of where they were at as route runners. But I honestly, like, I was looking at next year's class. I was like, man, straight up, I think wide receiver 2 for 2025 would be Brian Thomas. He'd be up there with Luther Burden. But I do think he comes out because, I mean, you're losing your quarterback. You're losing your running mate and Malik Neighbors. It just sounds like the way to go. We got the Jacksonville Jaguars. Okay, first wide receiver from tier 3 is off the board. So I really thought about maybe taking a wide receiver here, but I think we're just going to get better in the trenches to protect Trevor Lawrence. And I'm going to go with Troy Fautanu. Ideally, probably a guard, but that's not to say he can't make it at left tackle in the NFL. So it gives you options there. Detroit Lions corner is obviously the first thing that comes to mind. I don't really love these next guys. Like TJ Tampa. TJ Tampa, you got Denzel Burks. Like, man, I like those guys. But I was like, you know what? Okay, we could also go edge here. Honestly, my next edge player is higher than the other corners that are available. So I'm going to go with Braylon Trice. He gives you a lot of size and just gives a running mate for Aiden Hutchinson. Philadelphia Eagles, this is a team that loves looking at future needs and addressing those. And I still believe that corner is one of their biggest future needs. They currently have James Bradbury and Darius Slay, and they're fine, not playing great, but they're fine. Keely Ringo, Eli Ricks, playing time they've gotten this season, they've really taken their lumps. Mind you, the Eagles, I think, have allowed like the second or third most passing yards in the league this year. Let's not act like, oh, the cornerback room is fine, let it develop. No, add more talent. It's a volatile position. Let's do that, and I'm going to do that with TJ Tampa. I love this cat's size, his length, and his athletic ability, and I think he could be a sneaky first rounder come April. My Miami Dolphins, a fins up, baby. Could go tackle here. Terran Armstead, never healthy. We did just extend Austin Jackson. Hopefully this season he builds upon and he doesn't look like the Austin Jackson from years past. And I don't think he will, man. I really think he's maybe turned the corner. So now I look to the interior. Please, for goodness sake, re-sign Robert Hunt. But now you got looming questions at both guard and center. Connor Williams, he's been banged up, had the ACL injury just this past weekend. Well, actually, that was Monday night. I don't want to remember Monday. Can't believe we took that L. But ultimately, I think I'm going to go with an interior player that I'm just really high on, Jackson Powers Johnson. I think he's the best center in this class. I think he's probably offensive interior 1 or 2 for me. And I think his game just translates to the NFL. So that's my center of the future for the Dolphins. Dallas Cowboys probably would have loved to get them some Jackson Powers Johnson. Instead, I think I'm going to go with, I don't know if the general draft community is high on Jordan Morgan, but I am. I think he's that next OT off the board, or at least he is for me. He, I think, could also play guard if you need him to. So he opens a few possibilities where, okay, you could have Tyler Smith, your left tackle, and then Jordan Morgan, your left guard, or vice versa. So I'm going to go with that there. We're going to continue taking offensive linemen. We got the San Francisco 49ers, and they can definitely use some guys on the interior. Grant Barden here is listed as a tackle because he plays left tackle for Duke, but he was recruited as a guard, played center his freshman season. He profiles best as an interior player. All right, last pick of the first round. Baltimore Ravens. Few areas we could go. We could try to find cornerback 2 there for the Ravens. Ultimately, I settled on, well, Justin Matabuke is going to be a free agent. I don't think the Ravens are going to pay him. He's going to be mighty expensive. So I'm going to go with an interior. I love Leonard Taylor's like physical and athletic tools and ability. The production just hasn't been there for him. But if you look at him, look at what he can be, dude's absolutely a first rounder. I had this cat as a top 10 prospect going into the season. And unfortunately, again, the production just hasn't been there for him. Granted, the Hurricanes have sucked at scheming him. Golly, they have. Okay, we're going to open the second round with the Carolina Panthers. We're going to get them a receiver. I'm going to get them a separator as a route runner in A.D. Mitchell. The Arizona Cardinals, we grabbed Marvin Harrison Jr., we grabbed Drazon Newton. I think we continue addressing defense. I think Quinion Mitchell is going to be a hot riser at the Senior Bowl. He actually had a really good game back in 2022 against Marvin Harrison Jr. The New England Patriots, we grabbed Drake May. Now what do? I think you go ahead and try to find that tackle of the future. Even if they bring back Trent Brown, you could find a developmental player in that regard. I really do believe that they bring back Michael Onwenu, and they pop him out at right tackle. So I'm going to go with the next tackle on my board, who is Kingsley Sumatea out of BYU. Okay, we got the Washington Commanders here. And y'all are going to love this. Sam Howell. I just have to say the name. You're like, oh my gosh, you're going quarterback? I think I'm going quarterback. I think I wouldn't mind taking a shot here on a guy who has much better tools than Sam Howell, who technically is younger than Sam Howell, just to bring in that competition. Let the cream rise to the top, as they say. I'm going to go with JJ McCarthy. Washington fans, I will see you in the comment section. Listen, I love Sam Howell. I don't want this to be, but I'm just saying, if I'm Washington, it'll cross my mind to potentially have a fail-safe at the quarterback position. And I mean, if they get a new coach, I can't imagine Ron Rivera sticking around. Perhaps new guy comes in and wants to draft his quarterback. All right, Chicago Bears. We've taken Malik Neighbors. We've taken Jared Verse. I think the board has fallen well for us. Eddie Jackson is someone that I think probably gets moved on from. So let's go with safety 1 in Tyler Nubin. He is my safety 1. Green Bay Packers. I just saw Newman just go. So I'm like, you know what? The safety class isn't like great. So, you know, we have some holes at safety. Go ahead and take Cameron Kitchen. So we got safety back to back. Got the New York Giants here on the clock. I'm just so torn up with what I have to do. Michael Penix did cross my mind, especially pairing him up with Roma Dunze. But like I said at the beginning of the video, they have been vocal about Daniel Jones will be our quarterback next year. I think that's wrong. But if that's what they're saying, I'm just going to assume they're telling the truth. So quarterback's probably not going to cross their mind in this scenario. Honestly, if quarterback was on the table, I think they'd probably take it at 8. So what are other things that we could do here? We saw a lot of interior offensive linemen go off the board, so I don't think we could go there. So I'm going to jump to the defense and look for a running mate for KT. And I want to get another toolsy guy. Great length, great athleticism. It's not JT Tuimoloau, it's Chris Braswell. I think he probably ends up being the better fit anyway. Tennessee tight ends. This is our last pick in this draft. Pick 40. And you got Sean Murphy-Bunting. Dude's a free agent. Christian Fulton can't stay healthy. Not playing great this year. Roger McCreary, they've been playing him in the slot. So maybe they go with corner. Maybe they address corner. So I'm going to snag Denzel Burke. He's going to test out great. He's got great press man ability as well. We have the Chargers, and now I want to go to the defense. I want to address the defense, and I want to get someone who can stop the run. I want to get a big, meaty boy. We're going to Avondre Sweat. Okay, we're back on the clock with the Washington Commanders. I said this edge class kind of falls off. So I want to address edge before I get to 68 because I don't think there will be an edge talent there. So I'm going to go ahead grab TJ Tuimoloau. Look at that. You're replacing Ohio State's Chase Young with Ohio State's JT. Philadelphia Eagles. I think this is where you can maybe start to... because this is a deep tackle class. You could look for your tackle moving forward to replace Lane Johnson in the future. Lane Johnson can't stay healthy anyway. He's missed games every year. He's just kind of a better version of Terron Armstead at this point. I'm going to go with Tyler Guyton. I really like his tools, his athletic ability there. Okay, we got the New York Football Giants. And I'm going to stick with addressing the defense. They lost a big piece in Leonard Williams when they traded him. I think we're going to try to replace that. I know this draft simulator isn't high on my guy, but I am. I love Riley Mills. I don't know why more people aren't talking about him. He's a top 50 prospect for me. So we're going to snag him. He gives them power. Surprisingly, a really good pass rusher this season, but you know, at the bare minimum, he's going to be an elite run defender. Los Angeles Rams. Okay, this is probably where I take my tackle because now the group's thinning out. I think you could actually make a great case that there's really only one other player you'd be willing to take on day 2 in this tackle class. And that would be Patrick Paul. This is a little higher than where I have him, but I think it's fine when you look at how the class just drops off. Atlanta Falcons, we grabbed Jaden Daniels. Now I think we address the edge because, like I said, edge falls off a cliff. I'm going with Jonah Ellis. Dude was phenomenal at Utah this year. Just twitched up monster. This is funny. We got the Houston Texans, and I considered Emeka Egbuka at 24, and here he is at 47. Send it. Send it. I know y'all like, oh, Emeka Egbuka, there ain't no way he falls. Good players fall in the draft literally every year. Every year. And in this scenario, we've seen wide receivers, knowing this is a very good wide receiver class, it get pushed down the board. We got the Buffalo Bills. I just talked about wide receiver getting pushed down the board. I think we might see a run of it. So Gabe Davis, cool. You showed up sometimes. We're gonna grab Xavier Leggett. We're gonna get that size and speed. Love it. Cincinnati Bengals, T. Higgins. He's a free agent. The good chance that they franchise tag him, but just in case they don't, maybe you want to start looking for other options there. But Tyler Boyd's also a free agent, so you probably could add more talent at the wide receiver position. Regardless, I'm going to go with Troy Franklin, man. The hands weren't as consistent as they were last season, but the route running has come a long way with him. New Orleans Saints. This is where I'm taking quarterback. Send it. Pick 50. Michael Penix Jr. I know people are going to flip out, but hey, we've seen, let's just say the NFL is not as high on this quarterback class as maybe some of the general draft community. Michael Penix, he is one of the older prospects at the quarterback position. He is also the one with the most checkered past in terms of injuries. We're talking 2 shoulder injuries, 2 ACL injuries that ended his seasons back to back to back to back at Indiana. So he could slip and fall down the board. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, definitely Michael Penix would have been there for me. I think I would have taken him. Instead, I think I'm going to just keep addressing like positions where that the Bucs weren't good at. Corner happened to be one of them. A lot of that had to do with Carlton Davis and Jameel Dean being banged up and hurt. But it doesn't hurt to add more competition and talent to the position. I'm grabbing Kalen Keene, who I honestly don't think comes out. He kind of had a down year, but he was thought to be a first rounder early in the season. Pick 52 here with the Green Bay Packers. This is where we're going to see the first run back come off the board. I am a Trey Benson guy through and through. I will not change. I think his game translates so much better to the NFL than the committee role that he was given there at Florida State, which is kind of ludicrous. So Green Bay, again, Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon. I don't think those guys are the future at that position anyway. Minnesota Vikings, we grabbed Bo Nix, and I would love to get edge talent for the squad. Problem is, you look at this edge class, it's like, I don't want to touch anybody right now in this edge class, probably till day 3. But maybe we could get a tweener, and that's where I'm going. I'm going with Brandon Dorlus, a guy who has experience on the inside and the outside, so he gives you a versatile piece along that defensive line. Pittsburgh Steelers. Thought about receiver here. Maybe Deontay Johnson and his days are numbered in Pittsburgh. Might not necessarily be the case. However, yeah, I mean, Steelers, they have a track record of nailing on day 2 wide receivers. I'm not going to go with that, though. Corner, this is a good corner class. And I'm not going to lie to y'all, I don't really love the talent available here at pick 54. I like to think at pick 85, I could probably find a good player that could play corner. Instead, I'm going to take the first linebacker off the board in this piss poor linebacker class. There aren't many day 2 guys in this class. There really aren't. And with my boy Danny Stutzman, well, return to school, I'm going to have a new linebacker 1, and that new linebacker 1 is Edgerrin Cooper. Guy's a phenomenal athlete, great length, good size. Still putting it together in terms of coverage. Like, I know people are gonna be like, oh, he was like one of the top coverage linebackers for PFF. But you gotta take that and look at the context. The dude's working downhill and either lining up on like the running back, or he's playing a zone, a hook zone, or in the flat. He's not being asked to do a lot coverage-wise. All right, Colts, we grabbed Cooper DeJean. Wide receiver here, like, thought about Xavier Worthy, but then I'm like, oh, you're just getting too small at receiver at that point. Jalen Pollock actually came to mind, but I really went after the catch ability for the Colts. Instead, I'm going to try to help this defensive line, and I'm going to take Chris Jenkins, made Bruce Feldman's freaks list. And while he didn't improve the way you would hope as a pass rusher, he's just a very technically sound player where he'll play the run well, and he'll like, you still got Adetomiwa Adebari there, who can be your like passing down, like push the pocket type of guy. Cleveland Browns, they're kind of tough to draft for, but they're going to be losing a lot of players just because financially they can't hold on to them. So edge came to mind, but fun fact, a lot of the edge talent is off the board. So what are we going to do? I'm actually going to go with wide receiver. Ladd McConkey feels like a really good fit for what the Browns do offensively. Jacksonville Jaguars, just saw Ladd McConkey go off the board. I'm going to go ahead and also get in on this wide receiver class with Jalen Polk, another guy that could go a little bit higher than this. Kansas City Chiefs. We grabbed Brian Thomas. Would love to grab like an interior player. Thought about it. Wasn't in love with too many of the options. I'm actually going to go with Jatavian Sanders. I'm going to keep getting pass catchers for the Chiefs. Keep in mind, Travis Kelce also up there in dog years, so maybe you want to start looking for a guy that can not necessarily replace, but at least fill in some of that production you're going to lose out on. We're back here with the Detroit Lions, and I am going to go ahead and go corner. Josh Noonan played pretty well this season. One of the older prospects in this class, though, but still very good player there. Philadelphia Eagles. And DeAndre Swift, free agent. Rashad Penny, free agent. Let's go ahead and get running back 2, which it's going to be dependent on what team is picking. They're going to be looking for different things in running back 2. For me, Travion Henderson fits a lot of what I want to see with the Eagles losing a DeAndre Swift. So we're going to grab him there. The Miami Dolphins, speed kills. Grabbing Xavier Worthy. We've seen how this offense looks when Tyreek goes down. Nothing. Quite literally nothing happens with this offense. So we'll grab Xavier Worthy and like, hey man, just keep adding that speed, and we got playmakers galore at this point. It's like, who pick a guy, and it's probably the wrong guy in terms of who you want to stop. We got Waddle now. You got Worthy. It's scary. Dallas Cowboys. This one was a little tough. I just decided to go with the best player available to me, and I was like, you know what? They got Jordan Lewis playing in the slot right now, because Deron Bland, I think, kind of proved he's like hey, let the guy play on the outside. Stephon Gilmore, they still got, I think, another year with him. So this isn't a bad option to start looking for more depth at the corner position. Mainly, I'm looking at the slot and even technically safety. I'm going with Javon Bullard. I think you play him in the slot immediately, but he gives you the versatility to play deep as well. I just think in the NFL, though, he is like an potential elite slot player. San Francisco 49ers. I just saw technically, I guess, a safety go ahead of me. And Gibson's up there in years. So, I mean, to be fair, like Jair Brown is probably the guy that they want to play next to Hufanga. But this is just really good value at this point. Caleb Bullock, I think, should go higher. He's probably a top 50 guy for me. So, just going to go with the value. Baltimore Ravens, they don't have an answer at left guard right now. And again, tackle's kind of like not great. Like all the top tackles are already off the board. So I'm going to go with Cooper Beebe. He's going to be projected as a guard. So we're going to get that left guard to help out with that offensive line. Carolina Panthers, first pick of the 3rd round. We addressed the wide receiver position. Now we go to that interior offensive line, which sucked. It sucked bad. I'm going to go with Cedric Van Pran to come be our new center. New England Patriots. I'm going to get that playmaker at receiver now. I'm going to pair up Drake May with his good buddy Devontae Walker. Arizona Cardinals here at 67. Their interior offensive line could probably be upgraded as well. And this is probably now where we start to see some of the offensive line, like interior offensive line talent come off the board. I'm a big fan of Christian Hayes. I think he's going to have a big Senior Bowl. Washington Commanders. I kind of want to just take the top guy off the board. I mean, you get I think Jeremiah Trotter is actually a really good option in the 3rd round. Not ideal height, not ideal length, not ideal athleticism, kind of like whatever in coverage, but what he does underneath is just so good. So good. And now you're going to pair that up with kind of a freaky linebacker in Jamin Davis. New York Jets. This was kind of tough, and I feel like I kind of forced this because this is about maybe 20 spots higher than where I have this player on my board. But I think Torrey Horton's a good complement to Garrett Wilson. Good size, good physical presence, good blocker, solid route runner, good possession receiver. So I'm going to go with him there for the Jets. New York Giants. I feel like this is a tough pick. I think ultimately I'm going to settle on going with I'm between a couple of players. I think I'm going to go with interior. I think that's probably a given. Go with the interior of the offensive line. And I think I'm going to go with Javion Cohen. They're at a DU. Good size, good athlete. Okay, at pick 71, we're back here with the Cardinals. I think probably linebacker. I think we could take a shot at linebacker. I think Peyton Wilson is the most pro-ready linebacker in this class, so I'm willing to roll the dice, take a shot. Injuries are kind of an issue, might drop him out of day 2, but I think day 2 is where he belongs if you do feel good about if he does check out well at the combine. So we're going to go with Peyton Wilson. All right, we got the Chargers. I want to address corner. I'm going to go ahead and snag Kalen Carson out of Wake Forest. Good press corner, good athlete. Not an ideal season for him, but that's why you have him here at the back end of day 2. Chicago Bears, we're back on the clock, and you got to get better at center. I don't know how long Zach Frazier will be out, but a lot of people have this guy as a day 2 player. I think he broke his leg, so I don't know if he'll be ready to start for the season. That's fine. Let's go ahead and snag our center. And at this point, it feels like we have completed the offensive line. Well, Las Vegas Raiders, we're back on the clock. We grabbed Caleb Williams because we moved up. We're going to go ahead and start addressing that defense. I'm going to take Rook Arohoro. Guy's a freak. All right, Seattle Seahawks. I think I'm going to go with safety here. Get younger at the safety position. Jamal Adams is likely out of there. Quandre Diggs, they're going to have to make a decision with. Next safety on my board is Rod Moore out of Michigan. All right. We got the Rams here. I do want to address an edge before I get out of here. And there's really... Jack Sawyer is the only guy that I probably would want to take day 2 at this point. This is about probably his value in this like 70 to 80 range. So we're going to snag him for the Rams. Atlanta Falcons. I ended up just going with who are my top players on the board. Malachi Corley, someone who is basically a running back playing wide receiver. You just immediately put him in the slot, chuck a screen his way, and watch him work. You could even line him up in the backfield. I think you could have a lot of fun with him. Denver Broncos, I ultimately decided on going corner because corner 2 is still kind of like they don't really have a player they really like there on the boundary next to Patrick Surtain. And I'm going with Dwight McLaughlin. I'm pretty darn high on him, but I know that you just don't hear him talked about in the draft community. So he's going to the Shrine Bowl, so I hope he does. He just shows out there. Green Bay Packers, really just kind of we're in this place where we're just kind of taking the best players on the board. Packers have had trouble stopping the run this year, so I'm going to go with Talik Williams. Cincinnati Bengals, DJ Reader's a free agent, so I kind of want to get an interior with a lot of good size. I think McKinley Jackson at Texas A&M is someone who's going to test out well for one, and I think he's going to have a good Senior Bowl as well. Seattle Seahawks, this is where I'm just going to go ahead and swing for the fences on a potential home run selection, and I'm going to take Quinn Ewers. Okay, so this is what's going to happen here. I'm going to talk about two guys here. Quinn Ewers, I am almost sold that he's coming back. Things can change if he has a very strong playoff run. So I've kind of just assumed at this point he's coming back. So I'm going to pretend Quinn Ewers isn't on the board. However, Spencer Rattler, someone who has that special arm talent, it's just the production hasn't always been there for him, I think is worth taking a shot here at this point. I'm going to go with Spencer Rattler. Again, Quinn Ewers, I assume he's going back to school. Arizona Cardinals, they have James Conner in the backfield, but that's about it. We've seen running backs kind of like fall down the board here. So I just want to take a shot at the running back position with Jonathan Brooks. And it gives you someone for the future after Connors is done. Green Bay Packers, again, I just want to add more talent to the corner position, whether that's on the outside or in the slot. Chris Abrams-Drain, I think he can do both. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Mike Evans is a free agent. Johnny Wilson, he has that size, decent speed. I just don't think he's not a freak like some people think he is, and I don't think he has the most natural ball skills. So I kind of like him more in this like back end of third round area. Pittsburgh Steelers. Really wish there was a corner I loved here, and there really isn't. So I'm actually gonna go with the safety to pair up with Mika Fitzpatrick, because Kazi's fine, but I think he's better as a depth piece. I'm gonna go with Jaden Hicks here in the back end of the first or third round. Very, very, very good safety out of Wazoo. Back with the Colts, and I think I'm willing to take a redshirt year on a player, with that being Zach Zittner, to be one of my guards of the future. Especially Will Fries ain't that good. So Zinter, he probably doesn't play next season. That's fine. But you're getting a really good guard to kind of come in there and be an immediate starter. I think he's more pro ready than some of the other guys. Detroit Lions. Decisions. All right, with the Detroit Lions, the interior has been really banged up. I think Frank Ragnow, you got him, but you got to really start thinking about the guard position. Big Daddy V is gone. Glasgow is only on a 1-year deal. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take a shot on Donovan Jackson. Not the most polished guy right now, but definitely someone who has the athletic and physical traits. Cleveland Browns, again, at this point, I'm looking for positions that will be a need down the line. And if you look, they're going to have to make a decision at tackle with Jedrick Wills, as he's a free agent after the 2024 season. They have James Hudson, who they've been developing, but he is also a free agent that season. So maybe grabbing another developmental tackle like Kurin Omega Genji. Oh man, I don't have his pronunciation in front of me, but the Yale tackle who, dude, great build, great length, good athlete, good power. It's a shame. I think he's not going to be able to take part in the like Senior Bowl or anything because of I think it's a quad injury. But someone a lot of people have been talking about. And if I'm going to take a project guy, give me one with all the upside. Kansas City Chiefs. I'm going to go back to the Texas well for the Chiefs and take Byron Murphy. It's a shame that he doesn't get talked about as much as Sweat because dude is really, really good. So grabbing some interior talent. Even if they do manage to bring back Chris Jones, I think you could try. They got to keep trying to find that running mate for him. Jacksonville Jaguars. I think I'm going to go to the corner class here. Just a lot of coverage busts the last couple of weeks from the Jaguars. So just add in more competition, more talent at the position goes a long way. We're going to do that with, again, someone that I'm high on that maybe not the general draft community is. I'm going with Eunice Rakestraw Jr. out of Mizzou. I think he could play inside and outside, which works because their slot position ain't good either. Detroit Lions back on the clock. A lot of different ways we can go here when it comes to the Lions, and I think I'm gonna go to the defensive interior, and I'm gonna grab. I think I'm gonna grab. Oh, that's not sexy. Not the most sexy pick. Yeah, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna go to the defensive interior. Listen, the defensive interior, the Detroit Lions, they need a thick boy in there. Aleem McNeil's kind of their penetrator. They need a thick boy. They got like Bugs and Benito for that, but you could definitely upgrade upon that. I think I'm just gonna go back to wide receiver because there are quite a few guys that I really like here, and I think I want to take a shot on Jamari Thrash. There you are. Thrash, man, just a phenomenal speed and just great after the catch ability. Houston Texans. I'm gonna get a running back. Damian Pierce. I don't know what's up. Maybe he just doesn't fit the scheme there. I mean, Devin Singletary. Maybe it's a Devin Singletary thing, man. When he's in the backfield, he just ends up being the more productive back. Happened with Zach Moss as well. I'm actually going to go with, because, again, this is Bobby Slowick from San Fran. Speed kills. I'm going with Devin Neal. I'm really high on Devin Neal out of Kansas. I really, really am. Dallas Cowboys. We've seen a couple runbacks come off the board. Pollard is a free agent. I think I'm going to go ahead with grab Braylon Allen. Just a bit of a monster there in the backfield. We got San Francisco 49ers. I think I'm going to go ahead and grab the project tackle to be my tackle of the future in Blake Fisher. Remember Graham Barton? He's an interior player, guard, center. So I'm going to grab Blake Fisher, a guy that has tools. It's just for him, the production hasn't always been great. Baltimore Ravens. Gus Edwards, I believe, is a free agent after this season. And I love the idea of pairing like Keaton Mitchell with Audric Estime out of Notre Dame. And that will complete this 3-round mock draft. I'm just happy that I was able to keep this video under an hour. Go ahead, Let me know what you think in the comment section below. That's it for the video.